This kind of international link, it has come now to the fore with the help of these Goldie Brars and Bishnois and Bhagwan Purias. So I would say, yes, at this point, it is a little embarrassing for India. Today, what is happening is any huge gang leader who comes to a prison administration, he lives like a lord, because every prison, official is scared of him. Now, is there some kind of a political patronage? Yes, this needs to be looked into.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversations. U.S. prosecutors have announced the arrest of 24 suspects in the U.S., Canada, and Europe for alleged links to 3 India-based organized crime groups, including the Bishnoi gang. They have been charged with a series of crimes, including orchestrating the 2023 killing in Canada of Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar outside a British Columbia temple. Now, the federal prosecutors in Los Angeles said that the arrests were the result of years-long federal investigation into Indian crime syndicates that were engaged in targeted killings, extortion, and drug trafficking around the world. In total, 37 defendants have been and are charged across 3 indictments, which were unsealed on Tuesday. And that's a big story. It comes as a major embarrassment to India. It raises a lot of questions on the security apparatus of our country. It impacts the Indo-US relationship as well, because there are lots of questions. Now, what the United States Attorney Bill Ezeli in a statement has said, and I'm quoting, that transnational criminal gangs who spread fear, drugs, and violence will face the full force of justice and the weight of the federal government. And there is no safe harbor for these thugs. The 3 gangs which have been caught, in fact, one is the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and then there are 2 other gangs which have been operating. This is according to the FBI report. But the most startling story, which is quite viral on the social media, and that is of a Punjab police officer.
Organized crime group. Like defendant Bishnoi, defendant Bhagwan Puria led this international gang from a jail cell in India. As part of the racketeering and extortion charges, the indictment spells out how, among other things, this gang would partner with corrupt law enforcement officials in India to falsely accuse enemies of crimes within India. One of the defendants, Gunderpreet Singh, is a police chief in India charged with attempting to extort victims here in Los Angeles by threatening to file a false murder charge against them in India. This organization engaged also in drug trafficking in the LA area.
You heard what the US prosecutor had to say. So basically, the 3 gangs which have been indicted, one is, of course, the Lawrence Bishnoi gang. The second one is the Jaggu Bhagwan Puria gang. And the third one is the Ravinder Singh Dhanda, who ran a drug network. Some 24 people have been arrested, and a lot of things have been confiscated as well by the FBI. Say, for example, 1,000 kilograms of cocaine has been seized, 1 kilogram of heroin, 12 weapons have been seized, and $40,000 of cash has been seized. Now, there are lots of questions. It has a geopolitical implication. It raises questions on the policing system as well. It raises questions on the security apparatus. So I thought of speaking to Yashovardhan Azad, whom everybody knows has been the former Central Information Commissioner, but he's also been the Special Director in the Intelligence Bureau, who was later appointed as the Secretary of Security to the Government of India. Yashovardhan Azad joins us this evening. So thank you so much for joining, Mr. Azad. How big is this indictment? Coming as it does, it exposes 3 big gangs And it raises a lot of questions on India. Now, say, for example, this Punjab police officer who's involved, what does it go to show?
Well, it is a serious indictment in the sense that, especially of a law enforcement officer who's indulging in this kind of extortion with the help of the gangs. And Bhagwanpuria gang, as you said, is a rival of the Bishnoi gang. And you're right, across Canada and America, it has created a lot of problems for their law and enforcement because, they are threatening the Indian community abroad with respect to their relatives back in India. And therefore, there is a great collusion between the gang leaders who are here in India and who have their cohorts in America. So I think it's a very good catch by the FBI, by the Canadian Mounted Police, and to get into a coordinated kind of an operation, and then finish all these gangs. Now, we call it organized gang who indulge in this kind of organized crimes. For the gangs who indulge in extortion and killing and things like that. So, right, if you remember, there was a lot of hue and cry over Niger, almost straining and it did strain the relations between India and Canada. And the worst part, Neelu, is that, these are gangs who are running from behind the jails. And not that it is something new. I mean, it used to happen in the days of Mukhtar Ansari and, the Shahabuddin, other people. But this kind of international link, it has come now to the fore with the help of these Goldie Brars and Bishnois and Bhagwan Purias. So I would say, yes, at this point, it is a little embarrassing for India. But one thing is there, Neelu, rogues you will find in any police all over the world. I just hope that this fellow is caught and we don't have any more cases like that. But a very important lesson is that we have to do something about the leaders who are operating with impunity. And this man, Bishnoi, in fact, is operating, I think, from Ahmedabad jail. And
Yes.
where you can imagine encrypted messages, mobiles, all kinds of networks are being facilitated to him so that he can carry out these acts. So in the end, yes,
No,
it's
but
a
you
little
think that this
very,
time-
very
but you-
important step for it.
No, but do you think that a gangster like Bishnoi can thrive in a Sabarmati jail like this without the patronage of the state? Because what I'm told, and if you read the U.S. prosecutors, what they have said about Lawrence Bishnoi, that he was using a satellite phone and he was in touch with all these international gangsters in various countries. It goes to show a lot. Then the very same FBI has named people like Goldie Brar, whom you just named, that he was, and also Rohit Godara, who was supposed to be the commander of one of the gangs in Europe. They have also said, U.S. prosecutors in that very press conference, they said that this organized group of gangsters was running an extortion racket. They used to send messages, encrypted messages through apps like WhatsApp to extort huge amounts of money from the people. And also the huge drug network they spoke about. So what would you say to that? I mean, can this happen without the state's
See, two
patronage?
things. No, I agree. But let's not call this a state patronage. What I would say is that if you see the gangs have been operating right across, whether it's Ahmedabad jail to Tihar jail, even for that matter, and to other jails in UP, for example. You see, the first is the availability of, say, satellite phones or mobile phones, which are absolutely banned. And you will hear things like when the authorities say that we are using jammers, etc. I don't think any of the state government would like this kind of a crime to be inspired and directed from the jails itself. But your prison administration is in tatters, Neelu, and that's exactly when we were talking about the reforms in the criminal justice system. And we had also said that before these laws are reformed, and I said on your platform also, we need to reform the police, the prison administration, the prosecution, and the judiciary. So today what is happening is any huge gang leader who comes to a prison administration, he lives like a lord, because every prison, official is scared of him, and all the prison inmates rather treat him as the superior officer. And so all the facilities are given to him. And even if you catch him on something, there is no one to give any kind of a witness. So something needs to be done. I mean, and whether you can do it or not, of course you can do it. In Ahmedabad prison, giving these facilities to Bishnoi is not done. And if you have a designated good officer posted there, he will not allow it at all. Now, is there some kind of a political patronage? Yes, this needs to be looked into. And it's a very important thing. And that is why, if you see the indictment is a very strong indictment, because they're saying that these organized gangs, for example, you said consignment of heroin
Yes.
and cocaine, etc., going across from one country to the other, are being done by the cohorts and being directed from here.
Yes.
So two things. One is that their cohorts are already there who are operating with impunity. And then the gang leaders are operating absolutely from inside the jail. So yes, the source has to be crushed. And that is where the Indian jails count. And I think if this person is extradited, the Indian police forces will have to look at it very, very seriously.
Right. In fact, now, do you think that this is a very sad commentary on the policing system of our country, the criminal justice system? Now, the FBI has unsealed all this. Why couldn't we do it? That is also another question.
Well, Neelu, here it is known that people like Bishnoi are carrying on their activities of kidnapping and ransom and extortion and things like that. And in a few cases, we are catching them also. But of course, it has international implications. Then it's going to be a little embarrassing for India. And it is time that these should be completely clamped. We have to do something about the prison administration. We are not doing much. Have skipped this part of the reforms, and we have to look into very, very seriously. And as I said about Bishnoi not getting these facilities is something, absolutely wrong. And the other thing is that we should also look into the cases against Bishnoi here, whether the regular trials are going on, daily hearings are being done or not. Is the prosecution being threatened? Is it being allured? Is it being compromised? These are issues one has to look into seriously. And that's why I think a special officer should be designated with each of these gangs to pursue all these things and bring it out in the open, so that both the state administration can act and also our justice system.
Right. This indictment also speaks about Nijar's killing. And if you remember, in one of the articles which Washington Post had written, in that very article, Amit Shah's name also figured. Then we had some random reports about National Security Advisor Ajit Doval's name appearing somewhere. Now, I'd just like to put out the tweet by Siddhant Sibal. Shubham, if you're there backstage, and if you can have the tweet, it says, Punjab police announces the fact-finding inquiry after US authorities names Inspector Gurinderjeet Singh Nagra, who is the SHO currently of the police station Tanda district in Hoshiarpur, in the extortion case. That's the latest update as far as this particular officer is concerned. But again, the same question, Mr. Azad, that are there not serious questions on our country as well? Does it not come as an embarrassment, whether it is the government, whether it is the policing system, whether it is the investigative authorities?
Well, the indictment of Nagra is something very, very serious. And I would say it is extremely embarrassing, because for a police officer in India and doing this extortion and running it across with the help of criminal gangs across continent is something very serious. And I think this is a wake-up call for us to see that all such crimes which are emanating from the jails must stop. And for that, we have to be extremely tough. We have to give a knock to our prison administration, where a lot of things are going on which are not exactly in the scheme of things. And especially with these gangs, we have to really see that the cases are being prosecuted in the right fashion. In many cases, almost everyone is threatened. Everyone, including the judicial authorities. So I'm sure there should be a very, very serious look in. I hope the Home Minister announces a special team which looks into it and tightens up the prison administration of these places wherever these gang leaders have been housed in jail. And I'm sure then we'll be able to, by cooperating with these authorities, we should be able to catch almost every one of them. If we get the gang leaders here, and we should be able to get all their cohorts and all their followers, across, whether it's in USA, Canada, Australia, and all these countries. But one problem, Neelu, certainly remains. These people have they have very soft targets. And what happens is that they threaten, and that is the work which has to be done by the Canadian and US police authorities, because these gang followers of whether Goldie or Bhagwan Yeria and Goldie Brar, they are the ones who threaten and extort the NRIs in Canada and in America, saying that if they don't give the money, their relatives back in Punjab are going to be threatened by them. And so that is extremely important. And for that, you need a much, much better cooperation between the FBI or the Canadian Mounted Police and the local police to see that which are the victims in Punjab who are being threatened because of their links with these NRI abroad. That is a very, very important thing and a lesson which should start being implemented straight away, in fact.
In fact, the FBI, the prosecutors in America, they were saying that they might extradite Gurinderjeet Singh Nagra, the SHO. Can that be possible? Would the Indian government allow that? That's a very big and a very significant geopolitical question as well.
Yes, I think because if he's involved in a crime which is registered in US and which has such serious implications, then they certainly have a right to ask for extradition. And like extradition has been done of some of the criminals who have been based in America. But of course, America is very selective. They would not hand you over, criminals and the biggest terrorists like that fellow. What was his name? Haley in the Bombay attack. Yeah. So, but in this case, because it's straight and clear, their case is made out. And I think India will have to take a decision whether to hand him over or not. I don't think there is any reason why you should hold him back, because this crime is against humanity, that you can't carry your operations across, criminal operations. In fact, they should not be allowed to conduct any operations in India itself. Forget about carrying them abroad.
I'm surprised at the radio silence of the mainstream media on this story. This is a huge story which international media has covered, whether it is BBC or CNN. Everywhere the story has been covered. And one line which comes as a refrain on all the international news websites is about Lawrence Bishnoi, that this powerful Indian gangster was pulling strings from behind the bars, and obliquely pointing out that he does have the support of the state. What would you say to this? And there is a complete silence on the Indian media side. There is no soundbite. At least I haven't come across any reaction from the government or the MEA on this so far.
I can only say one thing on this, Neelu, that for all such embarrassed things which happen, there are only senior journalists like Neelu who raise this. And it is well known. Even in the past, you have been doing it. And thank you for that. The media which is here, the regular media, doesn't want to touch this. It's unfortunate that people don't get to know this. After all, it concerns the country. It concerns our democracy. It concerns our criminal justice system. So I can congratulate you and some other brave people who might raise it, but it's extremely important. And I do hope that the Indian government immediately reacts to it, or at least our CBI or somebody from home reacts to it, says, yes, this has happened and we'll take care of it, and we will be cooperating with the American and Canadian authorities that no such thing happens. Already the cases are being prosecuted in the right fashion, and then we have put an extra team. In fact, that will be a correct response, to see that we are taking it affront and not backing away from it or not shying away from it. And I do hope about this media you're talking about, that it does raise these questions, proper questions, and allows an open discussion, and how the criminal justice system yet has to be reformed.
What do you think does it reduce India into today? Of course, there are gangs operating in all the countries, but when it comes to the criminal justice system here, the policing system here, what does it make India look like? In fact, when this Niger killing also happened, we saw a decline in the Indo-Canada ties. Now, here, FBI has raised serious questions. In fact, has gone ahead and arrested 24 people. Now, do you think that geopolitically is going to impact the Indo-US relationship, or it could turn into some sort of a deal exchange, like always what happens behind the curtains?
See, Neelu, as far as the Indo-US relation is concerned, you know what stage it is in. It is back and forth, back and forth. One day we are saying it's all hunky-dory, we are strategic partners. Next day, Trump again says something which is extremely uncomfortable. But one thing I can say, that our strategic relationship or the nature of friendship that we have will not be affected by tapping these criminals. I mean, that is for sure. I do understand. But yes, in the criminal justice system, there has to be some kind of a complete coordination and seamless cooperation between the various countries. I mean, if you have a police officer from here extorting with the help of criminal gangs, then obviously it's something pretty embarrassing. The third thing which I would like to say is that, and I've always maintained, that amending the criminal laws was putting the cart before the horse. It was like putting a jet technology on a bullock cart, because we should have come up front, fought it bravely and squarely, and said the judicial reforms, the police reforms, the prosecution reforms, and the prison reforms should have been effected. So I do hope now at least we do it. And one thing in the last, which I said earlier, that we must, face it up front, not, keeping quiet on the media. In fact, the statement should be given to the main media by whoever, NSA or CBI or crime chief, that, we have taken note of this very seriously, because this concerns, a crime against mankind. And we are going to take the following steps. That is the way to react to it, and not shy away in any manner.
But also there would be one question, Mr. Azad, that if FBI can do it, then why not our own CBI? When you knew that these gangsters were locked in your jail, even then you couldn't figure out how they were using satellite phones and getting connected to the people internationally. So is it a sad commentary on the way CBI also functions?
No, you can't blame CBI for the facilities which are being made available to Bishnoi in Ahmedabad, the prison where he's lodged.
Oh, but surely the intelligence department, sir. No, I'm saying if not CBI, surely the intelligence department.
No, what I'm saying is that the prison administration should know whether somebody is using a satellite phone or not. You have jammers, you have every system there, you have the prison administration, you have a army of guards and things like that. It is their job to see that these facilities are not made available. The job of the intelligence agencies is to tell doing this from inside jail, you must put an end to it. There is a home department over there. There is a home secretary. There is a jail secretary under whom this jail administration lies. So yes, in that respect, I totally agree with you. That is a severe indictment. It's not really, carelessness or anything. It's something which is known, and yet you are not doing anything about it, which is a failure and an admission that we are not doing what we should.
But also, like Lawrence Bishnoi is housed in the Ahmedabad jail. Now, there we know that there's a BJP government. Of course, the Home Minister of Gujarat will be put on the mat. But more than the Home Minister of Gujarat, there are questions on the Union Home Minister as well, who's Amit Shah. Now, what does it go to show? I mean, is he going to answer these questions? Is he not answerable? Who is accountable for this, according to you? Where does the buck stop here in this case?
See, Amit Shah comes into the picture because this is now an international crime. This is organized crime which is happening, in a soil of United States, Canada, and both these countries, their premier investigating unit, FBI, has reacted and has said that it is, continuing with his indictment. They have got the courts also. So in that respect, I said, yes, it would be. But even if not Amit Shah, the counterpart of the FBI here should be able to make a statement. And that's true because we have not been shown in a proper light. So it is incumbent upon us to reply because it is the 24 Indian nationals who have been caught, and they have been caught committing crime on their soil and being directed from here, from jails inside their prison cells. So yes, in that respect, somebody who's of an equivalent rank, he should be able to. Why not Deputy NSA for that matter?
Yes.
And explain the whole thing to them. How many cases we are prosecuting? What have we done so far? What are the extra provisions? What is the law which we have made strengthen, so that they are comfortable that India is going to react in a favorable manner and cooperate very well in prosecuting these cases and almost bringing all these fellows to book, including that police officer against whom, if the evidence is established.
Absolutely. And now a monsoon session of Parliament is round the corner. Let's see if the opposition raises this issue and can the government really answer on this sticky issue, which really embarrasses India and also puts Modi government on the mat. Thank you so much, Mr. Azad, for joining on HW. Thank you.
Thank you, Neelu.